Hello, in this video I will show you how to create box plots and histograms using the IBM SPSS software. Here I have a data set including 30 observations. Each observation or each data line represents an individual or a student. For each student I have an ID number, gender information, their grade level, their score on a mathematics assessment, and the number of hours that each student spends studying per week. So to create histogram or a box plot, I have to go to the graphs menu. I can go to the chart builder option. We usually get a warning window advising us to use the right type of variables or the right type of scales to be able to create certain graphs. I'm going to click OK. And here I'm going to reset this because I've used it before. So let's say that I want to create a histogram. So on the left side I have different types of charts that I can choose from. I'm going to select histogram, and from these different options I'm going to select the first one of a simple histogram and drag it into the chart area. And now I have to select the variable that I want to use. Remember that histograms are used to indicate the distribution of quantitative variables, so they shouldn't be used with ordinal or categorical variables. So my quantitative variables in this data set are the mathematics test course and the study hours per week. So let's use study hours per week. I'm going to select this variable and drag it to the x-axis. I already get a preview of the histogram here, but let's click OK. And now I see that in my output window, I have a histogram illustrating the distribution of the number of hours that students spent studying per week. If I want to create a box plot of the same variable, I can go to the graphs menu again, click on chart builder, again click OK to the warning window, and then instead of a histogram I'm going to select box plot. And let's select the first or the simplest type of box plot first, which is a single box plot, which I am going to drag here. Now, because I already used study hours per week, this is automatically placed here on the y-axis. If you want to replace the variable, for instance, if you want to use mathematics, you can just drag another variable and replace study hours per week. But let's stay with study hours per week just so we can compare the results. And then I'm going to click OK. So notice that now in my output window I have a box plot of the same variable. The box plot illustrates a normal distribution. The line in the middle represents the median value. The line where the box plot begins represents the first quartile. The line where the box plot ends represents the third quartile. The line where the whisker begins represents the minimum value, and the line where the whisker, the other whisker ends represents the maximum value. The box in itself represents the middle 50% of the data, so it's a good measure of location and spread to a certain degree. Usually box plots or also illustrate outliers, but because in this case we don't have any extreme observations, they are not represented on the chart. Another option when creating graphs is to create graphs by subgroup. So in our data we have gender information, grade level information, for instance. So if we want to create, say, separate box plots for each subgroup, we can do that very easily by going back to the chart builder. And again, I already have the variable study hours here, but instead of a single box plot, I can select the multiple box plots here and drag them to the chart area. And let's do select study hours and place it on the y-axis. And then let's look at distribution by gender. So I'm going to select gender and place it on the x-axis. So notice I already have a preview of the box plots by gender. I'm going to click OK. And now in my output window, I get two different box plots representing the distribution of study hours for females and for males. I can see that the distribution is much wider for females, or somewhat wider for females, and the location is also a little bit different for females. That we have some minimum values here for females. So this is one way to create histograms and box plots in IBM SPSS. If you want to obtain these graphs at the same time with calculating some descriptive statistics, which is very helpful, another way to do this is to go to the Analyze menu, go to Descriptive Statistics, and then go to Explore. And notice here that you have the option of calculating statistics, of obtaining plots, or both. So by default, you get both. Let's say that we look at the variable study hours. So I'm going to select the variable study hours and move it into the dependent list category. And then in the plots button, I have the option of selecting, of course, the stem and leaf plot is already selected, but I can also request a histogram. So I'm going to click OK, and then click OK again. And notice that I get the descriptive statistics for the study hours variable. And then I also get a histogram, stem and leaf plot, and a box plot for this variable. So all the information, descriptive statistics, and graphical representations in one place. If you want to do this by subgroup, you can just repeat the same type of analysis. So go to Descriptive Statistics, Explore, and you select the variable study hours in the dependent list. But if you want to break it down by gender, you can select the gender variable and put it into the factor list area, and then click OK. And then you will obtain the same information, but separately for females and males. So we get the descriptive statistics for females here, descriptive statistics for males here. We get a histogram for females, a histogram for males, two different stem plots by gender, and two different box plots by gender. So this is how to create histograms and box plots using the IBM SPSS software.